we're going to talk about how to reorder different lists. The different lists can include like the promoted items on your front page, your slideshow, the listed items on your calendar, the action alerts, the articles, the positions. The members only page, kind of landing page, has two different lists. And so for the front page, we're going to show one process. And then for the rest that we just listed, it's going to be the same process. I'm here on the documentation page because we just added that one. I think reorder should bring it up. Yeah, how to reorder slideshow and other lists. I'll drop this in the chat, but it is always going to be there. It is the same version of, it is a little bit adapted from the, if you're subscribed to the Google group, there was a Google Doc that I had shared a couple of times, I believe. And so this is the updated version of that. So let's just jump right in. I'm going to first show off the front page instructions. So that documentation that I just showed is going to go over the second way to do it, the second version. So this is the first that only applies to the front page. So you're able to promote items that are of your own site or subscribed articles or action alerts. And instead of having to edit each item, we can reorder them by going to manage front page items. One thing to say about just the rule that MyLO has about its arrangement, the way it orders lists, the more recent the item, the higher priority, the higher it is in the list. So if something was, if you created something today, if you created an event and promoted it that was for today, and you have something, an article, let's say you created last week, the older article is going to be lower. So we see here that, we have just an order that is set by that default. So it's in chronological order at the moment, and that's just how MyLO works. You have the ability to override that ordering process by using these little grabby handles. And let me zoom in actually. Did that zoom in for you guys? Okay, there we go. So you can use these little grabby handles, and the way that you'll see those grabby handles is if that's in the top right corner, the link should say show row weights. If it happens to say hide row weights instead, we get now a weight column. This is pretty easy to work with, but I think the grabby handles are much easier. The weight can be a number that is negative or positive, and the same rule applies that the smaller the number, the higher it is up the list. So negative 100 would probably always float to the top. I'm not sure if there's a limit, but I would assume 100 is probably on either end, as high as that goes. But again, if you see this, you can just click hide row weights and you'll get those grabby handles back. So let's move some things around. I am going to move the California article up and all of the US items up. There we go. So we have a bit of things that are out of order as far as the usual order that MyLO dictates.
So when you say chronological, You mean chronological as to when they were added?
Yes, the only exception is the event. So the events, instead of being the display of them and where they're going to show up in the list, it's controlled by the event date rather than the creation date. But every other item is going to be by default chronologically in chronological order using the creation date. And so aside from being able to rearrange those items, you can also set the number of visible items. And sorry, I'm getting a call here in my ear. Sorry. So the set number of visible items will limit, or I guess extend it and put a max on how many promoted items we should see in that list on the front page. If you haven't yet saved an order, what happens is this number just keeps growing as you promote additional items. So if I only just rearrange items, I do need to save the order. I can do both, set a number of visible items and rearrange stuff, or just do one or the other. Regardless, you do need to save the order. And when you do that, the usual chronological order that MyLO will use is ignored until you reset those settings to default. So that just allows you to be able to continue customizing how you want the order to be. And it also allows you to customize the, I'll show you once we save the order, the ability to highlight and unhighlight promoted items. So I'm going to limit this. Let's see, I want to at least have some of the demo site stuff. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's say 5. I'll stop at the demo site's donate page. And save order. And the good thing here is that I am not like out of luck, stuck with just this order. I can still move things around, and whatever I slide up, that 6th one is gonna fall out, and I can continue adding promoted items. The one thing to note though, when you do have a specific set number of visible items, as you promote more items, you won't see them. And so you might be like, well, I know I just did that, and you go check it and it's promoted. Make sure to check this page, manage front page items. And if that is the case, then you just reset settings to default, and then you can, if you need to, rearrange them again and save a custom order. But so I moved things around, but I'm not going to save that. I'm just going to jump out. So we should see my demo sites donate page at the bottom. Okay, cool. We have California, all the US items, and then my donate page. So here in the little cog, when you hover over each promoted item, you have the option to highlight this item on the front page. Since we have a custom order, what that's going to do is, and after I selected that option, I did a page refresh. You do have to refresh the page in order to see the change. But once I did that, since I have a custom order, it gave me just the outline. But if I go ahead and reset the settings to default, the natural behavior of highlighted items allows them to float to the top. So it gives them even more priority. It's just the same as sticky in other lists, if you've seen that setting. So we see it already. Donate has floated to the top here. But let's go to my home page, and we'll see it's still outlined but now it's floated to the top so that the default, ordering of MyLO is once again in place here. And it also, it not only did that, but it reset the number of visible items and the order. So any questions so far about the front page ordering?
Is it a default to be highlighted or not?
It is a default to be unhighlighted.
Unhighlighted. Oh, I bet it happens to me because I've cloned one that was highlighted.
Oh, possibly. I think that is a clonable setting. Yeah, and so you can unhighlight stuff from this list. And let's say I'll highlight this one just so that we can practice with it. If you're working with articles or action alerts, like the subscribed ones especially, you have the option to do that from the lists, the articles and the action alerts, like pages that they come from. So like this one, it is made sticky by California, but if I promote this to the front page, it's not yet going to be highlighted. Highlight and sticky are like cousins. Or I guess siblings. They're almost exactly the same, but they are different since there had to be a distinction of the functionality, because the front page functions that we now have are different than the rest of these lists. So that was the reason for the difference in the term, but the function of those two are pretty much the same, just in different places. So I'm going to promote that. And then I forgot which other, I think it was this one. Yeah, so it is highlighted. We know what the setting is because what we're reading is the opposite. And it's promoted right now. So I'm just going to do a little swap. I'm going to demote this one. It's going to remain highlighted. And then this one here, although we see it looking highlighted, we'll see what it looks like now that I've promoted it. So Juneteenth and then yeah.
When you use that term highlighted, what changes graphically when you elect highlight?
Yeah, good question. So the highlight, let's actually show it here. This item right now and discrimination at the polls is third in the list. I set it to be highlighted and I do a page refresh and it will get that red outline and move up the list.
Okay.
And the only reason it has jumped up above donate is because it was made after this donate page.
Yeah. Okay. So it gets called out through a border. Okay.
Yeah. And then the only difference in what it does graphically, it is when you save an order, it won't move up or down, but it will get that outline.
Okay. Thank you.
For sure. And so we see the Juneteenth posting. It was made sticky by California, but we don't see that here on the front page. So if we want to do that, we have to highlight it ourselves and then page refresh. And that, yep, that should be at the very top. And then the purple and gold theme, I can change it now. It looks, definitely different, but it is the same idea of it gives an outline and it functions exactly the same. Let's take a look at that one. And let's just see. Yeah, so same idea. Any questions about the front page functions? Okay, so let's play around with the slideshow. So as I said, there are several lists within your site, and with the exception of your list of promoted items, all of the others are, as far as the order that you can control, are going to be done by editing the creation date of each item. That is beyond making things sticky. So if there was, maybe one or two things that you wanted to make sticky, that's usually pretty easy. Definitely if you have one thing that you want to take priority and always be at the beginning of a list, you can make that sticky without having to edit the creation date. Once you need to make rearrangements that are, putting things out of chronological order, since we are using like a descending chronological order from most recent to oldest, that's from top to bottom. So it's the same idea across all lists. And that's when we do have to dip into the creation date if we need to make some more custom changes. So I'm going to refresh my page just so I can make sure that I know, okay, this is the start of my slideshow. I am going to, I hadn't taken a look at this before. I want to make changes to at least a few of them. So what the starting point would be is to make a note of the slideshow names. This is going to help you find them in the manage content list. So let's say I want the League of Women Voters slide first. And I'm going to try to, not pick them in a very easy order so we can really show the example. Let's do slideshow. I probably have several named like that. Okay. So slideshow. And let's say take action will be third. Okay. So now I know the names of the ones I'd like, and I know the order. So what I can do, since, again, let me refresh. Since there's kind of a group that I'm not going to prioritize and a group that I do want to prioritize, what I can do to make it a little easier is make all four of, well, I also took down, after I said take action, I'm going to put vote for 1-1 as the fourth. So all four of those, I could make them sticky and then start changing the creation date of just those four. But if you are just working with a full slideshow that you are going to manipulate the order of, you don't have to mess around with making anything sticky. Since if everything is made sticky, then there's no use in making or using sticky. So let's start out with that. The first step will be to make my way to manage content. We have the ability to search up here. So I'm just going to make it easy and only pull up the slideshow items, since that's what I'm working with. And I could also make it easier, since I mentioned there may be slideshow items that are named the same. I can also narrow it down to just the published ones. So that could exclude any additional ones that are called slideshow, which I would assume I have a lot of. Okay, so League of Women Voters. Slideshow, vote 411, and take action. So those I'm going to make sticky. Okay, and that's just the first step. For the, unfortunately, the date that's listed here is the, whoops, updated date. So we can't refer to this date here. Now that we have those sticky, I'm eventually going to have to edit each one to look at the date, but I am also curious to see how the order has now landed just by making them sticky. Let's see, it may take a little minute for those to be revealed. Okay, well, in any case, we can still see what the order would lay out to be once I edit them. So I'm just gonna open a new draft from the edit button and just open them in a new tab. Okay, so I've opened each one. And what I want to do, I'm just going to jump to the very bottom for each one. It is here in the publishing option, or under the publishing options, authoring information here. So this is what we're focused on. I mean, you could also change the time if you have created items on the same day. But all we're looking for is to have a descending order of items so that whatever you want at the very top, it should be, you know, today or tomorrow's date type of thing. So then anything that should follow that would be yesterday's date. And then the next thing would be the date of 2 days ago and so on. So this is, I forgot to check the title here. Okay, this is the Vote 411. And I have this here as January 28th of this year. And I'm actually gonna give myself a little help and start putting the tabs of my browser in the order that I want the slideshow items to be. So regardless of what the creation date is right now, I'm putting Vote 411 as the last tab in my Google Chrome. I have slideshow, and I'm just gonna do that right now. Slideshow was number 2. Take action was number 3. Okay, so I have them in the order that I'd like to see them. And again, I'm just jumping down the page to open up the authoring information. For the third item I want to see, we have May of this year. So that's pretty recent. For the second item I want to see, that's from last year in October. And then the last one, which should be our first one, the oldest one here from 2020. So what I usually do is start out with an anchor point. So either the start of your list or the end of your list. So this, even if it's a small list, it may not be the full slideshow, but in this case, since this is such an old date, I'm going to start with the end here. So this is going to be the oldest date I'm using. This is going to be the anchor point for what I want to see at the bottom of my list. And this is just specifically the sticky list on the slideshow. So I can go just a day at a time. So this one can be January 29th, I think. Yeah. Make sure it's the same year. And then this would be changed to, I don't remember, just do February. That's definitely after. So that's just the goal is to be one day before or after, depending on the order that you're looking for, or you can change the time if you're looking to be that precise. And then finally, this is going to be the most recent. So let's just make that 303. Okay. So I'll go ahead and, any questions so far? Okay. Go ahead and publish each one of those.
Maybe, so you've decided they're all sticky, which gives them prominence. And now you're creating a hierarchy within sticky because of the dates. Is that it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yes.
great. Okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
Yeah. Okay, so that one is saved and published. Let's get the rest of these in there. All right. And I'm wondering if it may still be taking a minute to load those. No, it looks like it did come through. Okay, so we have League of Women Voters is number 1. Slideshow, take action, and then vote 411. And then the rest of our list has stayed the same. I mean, as similar as it can be from what we took out by prioritizing, by making other items sticky. But informed voters and slideshow example are still in their regular chronological order.
Is there a wish on the wish list, a way to do it like the front page? Because, I mean, you've done it once, but then the next time you want to change it, you've got all those creation dates that you changed, and it's kind of overwhelming.
We definitely can add it. I'm not sure how close we are to that dream, but we have a wish list. We have a feature request list for sure.
Maurice,
Yeah.
is there any ramifications for changing that creation date? Does that cause any other problems?
It doesn't cause any problems, but in case if you are trying to archive things based on their creation date, then it will show up as a different date, if that's kind of like what you're referring to for, I don't know, any research or kind of league cataloging purposes.
When you change that date, you have overwritten the date. The date doesn't exist anywhere else, right?
Correct.
Okay.
As far as our development team, though, having access, I'm not sure. It may be something that is like in a backup, but yeah, as far as our own access to it, it is overwritten.
So don't depend on that if you're planning on doing this. Don't try to use that for something.
Well, I don't see the harm in changing the creation date, but it is definitely up to each league. Jan, do you have a question or a comment?
I was going to say, probably you could see it in the moderation.
Oh, yes, good point. Let's actually test it out.
I have a question though. Is there a possibility that we can get visibility to the that date, the authoring date, on the management content page? So we could arrange, if we could use that to arrange how we see things, it would make a lot more sense than the modification date.
Yeah, I think that, and that seems like an easier lift that could happen sooner than an overhaul of fully provided functions like the front page. Okay. I have a note about both, so awesome. Thank you, Jan. Okay, so yes, I wanted to test out what you had mentioned, Jan. So I'm gonna just make my way to one of or actually, I didn't change the creation date on Vote 411. I changed it for League of Women Voters. Okay, so on the moderate page, it is going to have the original revision. So this will let us know what the or actually the lowest date on the right. Since this went from draft to draft so many times, it kind of lumped all these revisions into one on the left. So that is a way to be able to find that original creation date if you do change it. But again, you definitely don't need the original creation date to operate your MyLO site, or it's not going to break anything if you change anything. But in case you needed to know when something was originally created on your site, you can always find it in the moderation actions under moderate. So let's try reordering another list. I'm going to see if I have some stuff. Yeah, I have some stuff on my members only. And we have two lists here. So typically, other than the slideshow and other than the front page, I think most of our other lists start out with this kind of heading. We see that on our positions, action alerts, articles, and calendar. Each one has the content that belongs to the site itself, the owner site, and then the ones that they're subscribed to. And so let's go back to the members only. It's the same idea where I need to take a look at the list first and make a note of the ones that I want to put in a certain order.
Can you get the guy in the background to stop speaking?
Oh,
Does
sorry.
everybody, is that in your office or?
I'm at home here. I'm going to close the window.
Oh, I hope you don't get too hot.
I think I'll be good.
Thank you.
For sure. So, okay, I'm starting out with a couple of sticky items. So again, it's always going to be kind of a unique set of steps to start out with, because it's always going to be a bit different if you're starting out with items that are sticky and aren't. And if any of those sticky items are not going to be prioritized, it's going to be based, what you're going to do is going to be based on which items you want to prioritize versus anything that you want to unstick. So again, I'm going to try to figure out a random order. Let's go with join and take action. So join will be number 1. And take action is going to be number 2. The voter newsletter will be number 3. And I think that's good for now, unless, does anybody want to see the full list ordered? Or is it pretty like easy to understand as far as the small chunks that I'm using? Okay.
Because you would just repeat it again for all of them, right? So just to do 2 of them would be the same process for 6 or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't need to see any other ones.
Okay. So I think I'm just going to work with those 3. And then again, the rest of them that are here are just going to fall where they do. So I think with this, since I'm only going to take one of these that are made sticky and prioritize this, I'm just going to unstick them. Or actually, I'm just unsticking this one. So again, using the same technique that I just did with the slideshow, and I made that exclusive list of sticky items, I'm going to do the same thing. Now here, since I'm working with the members only list, and it's just a general content list, the item can be anything. So I need to expand my search to just anything. And I can leave the published option there since I know that they're published because they're showing up in the list. But then I can also make it my list smaller to just the private items since I'm just working with members only. So with any list that you're trying to reorder, you can always narrow it down to exactly the content items you're looking for. Okay, so now these are all the items, perfect, that I have showing. So first I'm going to unstick. When it comes to the sticky setting too, that's something you have to capture from actually looking at the list since it doesn't show up here. But I can quickly do that with the little execute rather than having to edit and save. So now that one is unstuck. I'm going to stick join, take action, and the voter newsletter. And even if something is already made sticky and any operation here, if it's already done and you do it to it again, it's not going to make a difference. It won't mess up anything. Okay, so now those three are made sticky. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to open up a new draft of each one of these, and we're going to take a look at the creation date. And on this tab, I'm just going to make my way back to the members only. Okay. So take action, the voter newsletter, and join. And since I'm only working with three, it's probably an even easier job. Definitely once you are juggling more than 4, I think it starts to get not harder, but you do just have to pay more attention to the dates that you're using, I guess. So again, for each one, I'm just jumping to the bottom, checking out the authoring information. Okay, and bottom. All right. So let's do what I did before and put my Google Chrome tabs in the same order. Take action is in the middle. Okay, so join, take action, then the voter newsletter. So let's check out what we have. November 2020, January 2021, and January 2021. Okay, so this is actually somewhat in an order that we already need. So I'm going to start with the end again. Since the voter newsletter is going to be last in our list, it's going to be the oldest date. So 1/15/2021. Then we have 1/19/2021. That's already more recent than the last one, so I don't have to make a change there. But then the join, we'll change that. What did we have? Okay. So we'll just do January 1, 2021. So that was definitely easier, not only because those dates were just kind of set up already in a way that worked, but I was only working with 3. So in this case, I only have to save this one. I didn't make a change to these other 2.
Did you want January or November? You put in November.
I put November just for this last one so that it's more recent than the January ones.
Oh, because it was 22? I thought they were all 21. I'm confused.
So November 2021 is closer to us right now than January 2021. And so that's the idea.
Okay, I was thinking 2022, sorry.
No worries. But if I wanted to like make sure this was a bit tighter, then the idea would be to put a date closer to January 19th of 2021. But regardless of that, the join page is going to be higher just for the simple fact that November is closer to us than January of 2021. And
Thank you.
for sure. And that documentation that I dropped in the chat has a similar example to what we went over, but having it written out might be a little easier to be able to refer back to. And then it does have a bit of a recap of just the descending order bit. So, okay, we are ready to go back to our list. Again, I didn't make any changes to these, so I can actually close them. And I'm going to refresh the page. So now we see join, take action, and the voter newsletter. Oh, since we got the question earlier about the creation date and if it affects anything, I did want to mention that for action alerts and I think articles, there's a submitted by line. So that would also change along with the creation date. So if that were something that you go by to be able to make sure that it matches your content, then you'll want to be a little more cautious with that type of content, just the action alerts and articles. I'm gonna double check the calendar items. Okay, the events as well. So just those three have submitted bylines. Any questions?
Well, this is a little irrelevant to the ordering, but the hero image and its thumbnail, that border that's gold that goes around them, is there any way we're choosing to have that? I mean, you don't have an example here because these don't have a hero image, but you know when
one. But
what?
as I could add one, but
you could just go to any, like your front page or whatever.
Is this?
Oh, here's
I can't
one.
remember
Here's
if this
one.
is a hero. I might have added this just to the body. Let me double check. But you're wondering about the outline and main image, how that interacts.
Can you suppress that?
The main image or the
Either
outline?
of them. When you make a hero image, it gets that gold border around it, and then when it's shown on a list, there's a gold border on the thumbnail, and sometimes the color is just so off with the image you have, you don't really want a gold border.
That is part of our global formatting. I'm not sure how easily that is to edit or add like a toggle feature. Yeah, unfortunately, but that that happens with this image that I added. It was part of the body, and so it's just any image that is taken into the summary will get that formatting with the purple and gold. I don't think that the same applies to the red and blue themes. But no, good question. We can jump into other questions. That was all I had for the reordering and rearranging.
So I have a question, Deborah. So they're right there on the page that you're at. This is over on the menu items, where you've got about, voting, calendar. And then under your contact information, you've got a couple titles there. How do I get those subtitles to show on my site?
Yeah, so let's hop to the menu. I can quickly get there with the cog and go to lift link. And that's the same as manage menu. But so let's do that with about. So with any menu link, you have the same option that we're looking for here. It is only going to work if the menu link that you've applied it to has child links. So if I enabled the setting here on voting, we're not going to see a change until I add child links under voting. So let's edit about, and I believe it's just a checkbox to enable to show as expanded. So once we do that, if the selected menu link has children, this menu will always appear expanded. And we just save. And we should see that. Yep, we see that right away.
Okay.
And you can, I don't think there's a limit as far as like, you don't have a limit as far as how many kind of grandchildren and like as making the hierarchy like deeper and deeper this way. And you can still show them as expanded. Depending on the length though, you might, MyLO might, do its best to try to make the menu look and be accessible.
What did you just do to make them indent?
I use the grabby handles and I drag them
Oh,
just as far as I can. And I don't know if you can really tell this over Zoom, but as I drag it, it's kind of moving step by step. That is just, right now it's a child of about. If I move it one more, it's a child of education fund and so on.
Mm.
Let's see what that looks like actually. Okay, yeah, so right now only these two are the children of about, but as I don't know which one I put it under. There we go, under action and advocacy. Since the menu links are so long and there's so many that continue on, it reveals each additional link one at a time. That's one thing to know, I guess, if you ever go that far in your menu levels.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
I had a question. It's pretty specific, but on our calendar, we have past events that we've moved in the past, but when the editor did it, it still shows a register now. And at least when I looked at it before this call, it didn't look like I could edit a draft once it was a past event.
You still have access to it. Let's see if I have any. Oh, my calendar is somewhere in here.
Why don't we go to her page?
That's maybe I don't want to say it.
I can advocate.
Yeah, I know. So it was
You want
calendar
us to-
past events, and we just didn't eliminate the register now, so it's irrelevant. So
I am just going to masquerade as you. Your username is first and last with no space in between, correct?
I believe so. Yes. Yes.
Okay. Oops. There's so many widgets. Okay.
Yeah, that's me.
Awesome. Whoops.
So,
All right. And then jump to your user page and then to your site. All right. So you said
Great.
calendar.
yeah. So it's under calendar and then past events that we've already held. On our front page, we have recordings about past events.
Hmm.
Yeah, so here you go. And it's still, after the annual meeting, it still has register for each. And so I couldn't figure out where the edit function was.
Okay. Yeah. Let's just use this one. And it's fine for me to completely.
Oh, so you clicked. Okay. I guess I just didn't see that. Okay.
Well, this is one way to get into a new draft. If you
Okay.
also click on the title,
All right.
you
Okay.
see these buttons as well. And this is the other
Oh,
one.
excellent. Yeah, I was always looking at the top of the page because I guess of the front page. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay.
So once we get in the new draft,
Yeah.
we're going to look for, I think it's
The
register or
button.
registration.
Yeah, it was like a register button.
And there we go. Event registration is its name.
Okay.
So anytime you have any text here or any link, especially, it's going to bring that button up. So we just
Yeah.
need to remove that and republish it.
Oh, that's great. Thank you. I can do the rest now. You just had to show me once.
All right.
This is great. I enjoy these sessions a lot. It's like,
Yeah, because these are definitely little things that it's hard to fit everything into documentation, like trying to put your whole brain in there. And sometimes there are things that we miss. So
yeah,
this
terrific.
is helpful.
All right. Thank you.
And
Are
let's
you
just,
from Florida?
Lee County, Florida, Southwest Florida. So Fort
Wow, you have
Myers.
your work cut out for you.
I know. Yeah, I feel like I'm a missionary. And I was a new communications person. And it would have been enough just to learn the web, but we've got stuff cracking every day. We had good events, as you saw actually in January. This is when she talked about Amy Weintraub of medication abortions. So, yeah.
Oh, wow. Whew.
And also ships.
Well, every
international-
state has its challenges,
Yeah.
or every
Well, I
area.
I
Some
unfortunately
have
was,
more than others.
I know, I believe in nonpartisan, but I always like went to college in Massachusetts, lived in New York City. So I was a protected species till now. So,
Why did you do it?
well, for the weather, so. Although it's a good question. Yeah, I retired. So
very
our
generous.
state, Cecile Schoon's excellent. She was behind the returning citizens or restoring rights of felons. So before
yeah.
she assumed the statehood. Yeah.
That's great. Mary Jo, do you have a question? You're muted there.
Just real quickly, kudos to Florida for continuing to work on that returning citizen thing. I can't believe what they're doing to those people. But anyway, so I told Jennifer, I don't know if she mentioned it, I would like to have a slide picture of Vote 411. And I have one that has a young woman, holding it. And so that's what I've got there. But I would like to find, just the logo somewhere. And I'm just wondering if anybody on the call has one that I don't have to fiddle around with, that has the right 400, 800, whatever it is, if they could maybe email it to me. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I tried a couple from
As far as slideshow size.
Yeah, that I don't have to fool around with. I did, so I went into the media library and I limited it to Slideshow. And then put Vote 411 in. And only 2 came up, and they were the ones with the Scrabble tile. But I'm looking for something that would be the actual, the league logo, and then it's got election information you need, something like that. I just wondered if anybody has one that they could send that to me and I could just plop it in.
I had that issue yesterday, so I think I can help you. I was doing a press release on overall voting, and I went to League Management, the total US site.
That's
and
where
then,
I went.
Oh, and logos. And then in Vote 411, they had about 5 or 6 sizes, and they were labeled small, medium, large. So I don't recall.
Okay, which one did you use?
I used the small because it was a press release, so I can send you all 3 because I put them in my library. Yeah.
And I do also have this page. I think it might be the same one you're talking about, Eileen.
Yeah, there you go.
From the League Management site. Vote 411 logos, and let me drop.
Yeah,
this.
so you have to drop down a couple levels till you get to the description. Logos and brand standards.
I downloaded a file or something and I clicked each of those files, and I don't remember seeing anything that would fit my bill, but what is it? Is it 800 by 400, Amaris? Is that what it is?
800 by 400 is the pixel size. And it looks like they have just a few different ones here up at the top.
I downloaded then, yeah, and then it really gives you the descriptions.
It tells you, well, let's see what the default size is when I download them.
because I also had problems where I was trying to find one of the vote 411s. And then once I found it, I was having a hard time getting it to, I was actually trying to put it into my slideshow.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what I want to do.
Yeah, and I could not get that thing to work no matter what I did.
But you might be able to edit it so you add the same color and spread it, add to the width of it with the color, background color.
So
I don't want to do that.
this is where I was, but I'm happy to send you the 3 if you want, or
What,
if
did you
Amara-
see one that said 800 or 4 by 800?
it was described small, medium, large, so I downloaded all 3 and I used the small.
But even
But-
that one, I don't like that one because it's like it's right up to the edge. And then I
Oh.
want to have election information you can use if I could. But I may have
But-
seen. But-
Yeah, you want one with a little bit of padding around it that has some white space. Let me
Don't you-
see if this one has a little bit more padding around.
You could plunk it, but you could plunk it down on just a plain white background.
Mhm.
That it's 800 by 400. I don't know what this is. Can you tell?
Let me check the property. So I'm looking at this one with the tagline. This is the small version. It is not going to tell me. So I think the easiest way, since it's not telling us the dimensions and just the property, I would assume that the easiest way is going to be like in a paint editor program.
Yeah.
That will tell us the
Then you can
size.
resize it. Yeah.
Okay, I was just hoping somebody may have already used one and could just send it to me because I'm not going to go through all that.
Oh,
Here we
look at
go.
it's
It-
the right. Ooh, it's the right width, but you don't want that width.
The height.
You could expand the background in the height and make it white, but
Let's-
but
yeah, if
you
I
still
resize
have
the
issue
canvas.
of- Yeah.
Yeah, if I could resize the canvas, and this is just the Windows photo app, I believe. I'm just looking at the picture and I clicked on the 3 dots and it lets me resize. From this same app, I don't think it's going to let me change the canvas size. What is this? Edit image. Oh, maybe.
Mary Jo, I can resize it. When you decide which one you want.
Well, go for it. I mean, I just,
I mean,
guess
do
I
you
was-
like that one?
well, not really. I don't like how it goes right to the,
Right,
the
but
edge of
if
that
it
one.
had white around it. would
I
you
I
like
suppose it
it?
would, yeah, and because on the banner part, I've got, I have it vote411.org, so people know it's a website,
But you have to be careful you don't cover, that you have enough space at the bottom part of it so that your text on top of it doesn't eliminate what you want them to see.
Yeah, it probably would be good to add at least 200 pixels in total when it comes to the top and the bottom, of adding some white space up here and down here. That'll allow you to move it around much more easily and find the exact window that you want to show.
And then you can also add it on the sides too, Mary Jo.
Mm-hmm.
if you go for it, Jennifer.
Whoops. Yeah, the idea would be to have at least a little bit on the sides, but definitely a lot on the top and the bottom. And then that gives you some room to move the little cropping point or focal point around.
Yeah, and like I said, the one I have on the page now is a league one that I found. It's a young woman of color holding it, smiling. And, it's very nice, but why, that works perfectly. So why can't we have more? I mean, I don't know how other websites work. Maybe they don't have to worry about this, but a
Well,
lot of people that use that. So I just wish they'd make it a little more convenient.
they aren't oriented towards MyLO.
I know,
I
I
mean-
know, I know.
Yeah, and I think they do, they just don't, they also just don't know that we do have pretty specific,
Well, I have mentioned it on a couple of social
specific-
media things,
Oh.
but yeah.
well,
Okay, well,
I'm
if
glad, I'm
anybody-
glad you're putting it out there though.
If anybody does do that, if they saved it into the media library and accessible to all of us could see it, right?
Yes.
As long as you know how to find it. I have a lot of trouble finding things that are, I think should be there for me.
well, like I said, like, maybe if there is one and it, it's appropriate, maybe the person did not check it as slideshow.
Hmm.
I'm assuming that if they do not, then I'm not going to find it. And I think you have to choose something. I'm not sure.
Yeah, at least
Wait,
one.
Yeah, you have to, yeah. So, and then also, if somebody does figure something out, please add it and maybe put, well, I was gonna put slideshow, but you've already limited to slideshow, so I don't know.
But you could also add maybe some other terms in like the file description or even in the name.
But what I'm saying is I'm just trying to think, when you go to apply it and to limit it, do you have to choose a media?
You like if
Not
you're
when you put it in,
searching,
when I'm searching.
you do not have to. So let's
Okay, so maybe, all right,
like even if we were searching for it on manage files,
yeah.
let's just pretend
Because
we're gonna
then
look for one.
if people would maybe add that to the description of the picture then, in the future, in case they didn't limit it on the beginning thing when they have to choose what media it is. I don't know.
Yeah, depending on your search, maybe you don't only narrow your media tag. That's what we're talking about. Maybe you don't only narrow yourself down to
That's what I did there.
folks are labeling as slideshow image.
Yeah.
But that would probably be a way to start. I would think. From here, you do have to open the image. And actually, I'm going to go back.
Now, how come I didn't see those? The only ones I saw were the tiles.
Oops. So I'm on manage files instead of
Right.
looking through the media browser. Like
Oh,
the media browser is, it allows you to access the media library through the page that you're editing. So this is me searching through the media library without editing a page.
okay. And I thought that's what I did. I thought I went to the
So I
library. I went to
came to-
manage files and then
Mhm.
I went to,
Once you go to
wait a
manage
minute, no.
files, did you click on view all files?
somehow when I'd open it, said view all files. So I clicked that.
Okay.
And then I put media tag, slideshow, and then I typed vote 411.
If there were maybe any other like specifications or spaces that could have given a different result, but I'm not sure.
Well, see, okay, so,
Why we weren't seeing the same
these pictures there where you've got the nice vote 411.
Mhm.
So,
Okay.
how do I know okay, I guess I could take the time to look at all those, like the third one, and see if it'll work, but it would be nice, if I knew it was gonna work the first time, but
That's pretty
maybe
good.
I'll do that and and then I won't limit it, maybe.
What's the
Yeah.
size of that one?
Yeah, how do you know?
Yeah, unfortunately, you would have to download it to know it if it's already uploaded,
Yeah,
or you could try it,
yeah,
adding it to a slideshow item and then checking it out.
yeah, right, which I do plenty of times, yes.
But when you open, at least in Safari, if you open an image in another tab, it shows you the size.
Oh, let's try that.
Hmm.
And you
Oh,
probably
that's
could use
me. That was
developer
my name
tools.
there.
Mhm. This one is yours here.
Wonder where I put that. Okay.
So let's see. I know definitely with the
It shows at the
Developer
top usually, along with the name of it. You've got so many tabs, though, it might not show.
no, it doesn't show. As far as
Okay.
in my browser by default.
Yeah,
But
mine does, but that's Safari. Maybe that's a difference.
yeah, but what I can do with Google Chrome, and this is going to be, similar for many other browsers, you can open up the developer tools. And then once you activate, I don't know what this setting is called, it's called select an element in the page to inspect it. Enable that, and then you can hover over the image. There we go. Once I'm hovering over it, sorry, it's probably kind of hard to see. You see in the bottom left corner of my screen, it says IMG. That stands for image.
Oh, that says 400 by, but that
So
wouldn't work, right? Because it's too small.
Pretty small, yeah. So it would probably be pretty blown up and blurry. So that's a quick and easy way, so you don't have to download anything.
And then you said that's somewhere in the Chrome tools?
Yeah, so I click on the 3 little dots.
Okay, yeah.
And it's more tools.
More tools. Thank you. Okay.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Sometimes
like an awakening. Okay. Those 3 little dots.
There's a lot that you can see with the developer tools. Probably a lot more than you ever wanted, but it is very helpful in situations like this, where maybe you need to pick up a color. Like if you wanted to know exactly what the color code of this button is, you'd probably be able to find it through the HTML, things like that.
Yeah.
So this is a search I did for Vote 411 and no other specification. So Vote 411 should be in the title. So there's a lot to look at, and the only reason it's being cut off is because I've zoomed in my screen. There we go.
Oh,
Yeah, so that
Well,
one
that's-
with Roberta. Yeah, and
This
that's
one looks pretty good. The only thing is the darker background, but it does have some of that padding.
well, let me ask you, are both of those official? Because I know they changed it.
Let me open up here the branding standards for Vote 411. I know I saw the logos.
So those are all okay.
Let me double check the folder that I just downloaded.
Well, they had them on their website, so.
Dark. Oh, that doesn't have the dark background. Oh no, these are just different sizes. Let's see. I don't know. I mean, they do have there we go. Maybe the dark background. Tagline. This has to be it. This looks black, I guess. So I would assume so. The only thing is that on the Vote 411 resources site or logo site, they only show that one without the tagline. So it's like close, but not exactly explicit. So I don't know. I wouldn't imagine National to be coming down hard on folks using it though.
Yeah. So that's the one I have now with the young girl, the young
Yeah,
woman.
it's a nice one.
I bet it looks better than you think.
Me? Are you speaking to me?
Yeah. You might
Well,
be
yeah.
being a little too
Hard on myself,
demanding
yeah.
of
And like I
yourself.
said, I did use the banner and I said, for informed, whatever it is, I wanted to make sure people knew that, like I said, that it was a website.
Nice.
Yeah.
One that I know we have on our demo site and then somebody else had made use of it is this one, I think. I either have this version or a different version.
Yeah, I saw
have
that one. I had that one at one time and then I thought, oh, I got too many. I'll get rid of that one. Yeah. But I was pleasantly surprised when those 2 actually worked.
Yeah, that must be nice to just drop them in and say, okay,
Yeah.
done
Wow.
with that.
I
The
do
reason
like
the reason we like these calls, it's lonely when you hit the wall. You're all by yourself and there's no.
Yeah, but nobody hears you screaming. No.
Well, you
Okay.
can put something to the Google groups, at least.
That's
Yeah,
true.
a
Yeah.
call for help type of thing.
That's
Okay, so
true.
once you have found your image here, okay, so you found an image and you actually
Want to use
say,
it.
I want to use that, then can you just, you just copy and paste this into your own Elements Photoshop, or can you go then and look in the media library?
It does depend.
Okay,
If you are needing to make some changes, and it will depend on if the image has any licensing information, the person who's uploading it is responsible to paste any applicable licensing information. But you'll check that out. And if you are good to go with downloading it and making changes, then you'll want to go that route of downloading the image, re-uploading it once you're ready to use it. But if you find an image that you want to use right off the bat, then let's use this one. So I can just copy the name because that's what I'm going to be searching for. I can also open up the file itself. Well, I guess I could have clicked edit, but I want to edit it so I can see additional stuff that has been specified. So I can also search by the alt text. I can search by the media tags. But the number one thing is usually the name is probably going to get you to find it first. So let me go. Let's open this in home. And sorry, Eileen, I'm just gonna keep playing around in your account.
No, all editing is wonderful. So thank you.
Oh,
Yeah,
some
and I
of you
won't
have
stick
really
any
late. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I'm surprised how late your primaries are in some
Yeah.
of your states.
Yeah,
Wow.
no. Yeah.
Maybe that's good. Maybe it eliminates the period between the primary and the main, the
Well,
general.
August 23rd, request a ballot by July 25th and November 8th. Yeah.
So,
Wow.
if you had it like in March, you'd have to put up with the politicians arguing it out for
For
8
so long.
months or something.
Yeah, and I guess that's state specific. I'm not sure if that's legal.
Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah,
We've
it's
already
state,
had our
yeah.
primary.
Okay, so like I said, I won't save anything, but let's jump into open up the media browser. I am going to open up all files and let's drop in that file name. I think I'm going to remove the .png, just the file type ending may not be included in the file name. Oh no. So let's try just the first portion. Typically, if there's an underscore, it's a space that was interpreted into well, it has to be changed to an underscore when it becomes a URL. So that might be the culprit there.
Well, also permission received isn't always set, right?
Okay, yeah, I think that is probably what is happening here. We didn't implement this option. When you upload something, it asks, there's a required question of, I have permission to use this on my website. And that's just confirming that it's, a legal item to be used. And I think we implemented this, it was after a few years of MyLO operating, or maybe at least a year. So there was some, files already uploaded. And so it's probably an older one is a good guess, Liz. There we go. So those are probably usually the two things you have to work with as far as searching, using the file name. And if it's a long file name, like multi-word file name, maybe try the first word or first couple words without the underscores and use spaces instead. And then this will always open up your results, the permission fields. Changing that to any will show you any and all items with those other criteria. But then again, as we saw, if you edit the image, you have the other stuff that you could use, like the alt text. Yeah. Okay, no, you can't search by the alt text, unfortunately, but the media tags, they did provide that. So what was it? Oh,
Voter education.
Thank you. And yeah, so that if it was a huge list of results, then that gives us just that little bit more to specify it. And then we would submit it. I won't actually do it, but it would have dropped in here. Yeah, so that's the easiest way if you're searching for an image through manage files and then view all files.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, Mary Jo.
So I didn't check today, so I don't know if it's still there, but yesterday I noticed, and it's not a big deal, but where it should say administrator's site, it had some Nevada, I think it was Nevada. Oh, you're shaking your head. Okay, you know about
Yes.
that. Okay.
Yes.
Everybody got it. Oh, okay.
So it is just one of the things that webmasters have access to since we are a shared site system. We are not that we are unable to turn that off, but if we did turn that off, that ability, it would restrict a lot of your current abilities with how you manage your menus. I think it mostly would affect your menu management. So we unfortunately have to leave that as it is. We do have, and I'll show you guys.
It's going to say Nevada or whatever it was.
I changed it back. Luckily,
Oh,
somebody
okay.
reached
Oh,
out.
okay. All right.
And this is the menu that we're talking
Yeah,
about,
yeah,
administrator league menu.
Right.
Yeah, somebody had alerted me because she said that she saw Western Nevada County.
Yeah,
And,
yeah. Okay.
But when I looked, I saw a different league's name. So
Oh,
I was very confused, but I realized, okay, we've got some hands in here. So when we hover over this menu, we get the cog, and we know that that is a way to be able to edit something. And we do get the option to edit menu. I am still masquerading as Eileen, so this is what any webmaster would see. Obviously, we have the first menu link titled "Do not edit this menu," but that gets overlooked. So yeah, if you ever notice this, just let me know, or change it back yourself.
Yeah.
But yeah, we try to keep that the same, but the ability is there.
I've never even seen that. I've never looked at it. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, that's always fun to see that one.
Because all that stuff we just do a different way, obviously. I mean, it's
well, all this is applied to all of you, so it's not
Right.
a league specific menu.
Right. But when I click my own, so what would have happened yesterday if I tried to do something? Would I have been able to do my own page?
Yeah, it wouldn't have affected anything. The only thing that was changed was the title. So these links that kind of are specific to your own league, they would still work the same.
Yeah, that's what I figured, but yeah, okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's definitely not fun to see it when you are expecting a certain thing. Okay, I'm going to switch back out. Any last questions? I think we're going to be wrapping up in the next 10 minutes here.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Do you know when the next meeting will be? Because I'm looking at something dated June 17th.
Yeah, let me open that up.
It just said no replacement session scheduled.
I think, yeah, so the 15th, there will not be, and then we're going to pick back up on the 29th.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, I at the moment, I don't know of any other changes to the schedule. These, last minute changes that we just had and are going through were mostly due to national convention. And then now at the end of the month, we're with the California League's office, we're kind of going towards moving. I don't know if the goal is for the end of this month, but we're getting the ball rolling. So I'm hoping that there aren't going to be any other changes to the schedule, but stay looking at the emails that come from the group in case some more changes do come about. Mary Jo.
So this has nothing to do with MyLO really, but I was just wondering, did the State of California League have a public position on the bylaws issue?
Oh.
You know, because you have some large leagues. I mean, are you all for this change?
I don't know. I haven't really talked to
Okay,
our leaders about it, but
Michigan was opposed.
oh, okay. Yeah, I was talking to one of our,
We were opposed too. Yeah. So,
What was it?
well, it changes the member pricing and,
and the way the dues are collected.
yeah.
Are they
Um,
they wanted to increase it? The prices?
No,
No, it wasn't that
it's
easy.
almost- Yeah.
I wonder if they have it online, because it was called like the transformation plan.
They do have it online.
Oh, they do
and-
have at least the roadmap, right?
Yeah, but that's what I found. We'll get bogged down, but as a relatively new member, just going to the web when they would talk about will help it be more inclusive, it was hard to cut through. And then what I found telling attending the convention as a virtual delegate, people who voted against it in the pre said, look, you had 2 years to get your act together. You know, they could pilot it to show how it works. So.
Well, what they kept saying was that they had to change the bylaws before they did any fooling around with it. I don't know. But I did get something, we all got something, I'm sure today or yesterday, that there's going to be something like a recap for all members to
Okay.
watch. You probably got that. Okay.
Yeah, it only passed by 8 votes.
Yeah.
Oh, it passed. Oh,
And
Yeah.
then somebody wanted a recount. It was like an exercise in Robert's rules. And they said, no, you had to ask for the recount before we voted on another amendment. Then, sorry, I'm bogging you down, but then
No,
they
it was
found, no, they
fascinating.
found in the chat that somebody asked for a recount before the other amendment was taken. So then they re-voted, but unfortunately, a lot of people were upset and so left.
Oh,
And then
no.
it was like, if it was 800 people voting and it was by 8 votes, only 400 people voted for a recount. And so it didn't pass. So it was a very contentious. Yeah. So.
And what I had heard, I had to miss it Saturday, darn, but what I had heard was that there was a little, it's not really advocacy, but
Oh, way too much advocacy.
yeah, right.
Oh.
I guess they had some.
Well, it was the review of the year,
Yeah.
and there were political positions, and then it was like you kept saying in the chat, "Are we going to have time to advocate?" Oh yeah, we have enough time. Well, the session only ended at 5:30, and it was supposed to end at 3:30, and that's the position that Cecile took from the podium, which was, I didn't feel this was a fair process because it was totally weighted to the pro. You know, in terms of these advocacy positions when it
Yeah.
was a review of the year. So, yeah,
That's what I had heard, yeah.
well, we're all allies now. So we have to work at the external, but it was
Oh, man.
8 votes. So make democracy work.
Wow.
8 votes.
I'm glad it wasn't just by one vote because I was a delegate, but I had, another commitment. I would have felt really bad.
gosh.
Well, I'm glad they have information coming out about it.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how much they cover, yeah.
Now they're going to have another session because they ran out of time to present the awards.
Yeah.
So,
That's what I'm saying. It sounds like, yeah. Okay,
Good fun. All right, folks. I
thank
think
you.
we're good to go. So as of now, we are going to see each other on the 29th.
July 29th.
next.
Thank you. Thank you all. Okay.
Yeah, thank you
very
guys.
much.
Thanks.
All right.
Good luck,
Bye.
everybody.
Take
Uh-huh.
care.